In a league accustomed to constant change, we've got two sides that are championing consistency. It's a clash between founding clubs Forward Madison and Greenville Triumph. Welcome one and all to this broadcast on ESPN+. My name is Mark Schoenstert, and my color commentator for tonight's match is Ross Davenport. We welcome you in on this broadcast as we peek for the first time this year on a Greenville broadcast. The standings brought to you by Hopkins Eye Center. Obviously very early in the year, only 1 or 2 games played. But of course, these points matter just as much as the points in September matter. So if you can get 3 points here, that could end up being the difference between making the playoffs or missing the playoffs. Now, Ross, Greenville got off to a great start this year, winning 3-1 against Spokane in week 1.
They did. Spokane took the lead, actually. This one in the first 15 minutes, but Greenville came back. 3 straight goals. Zion Scarlett there. Evan Lee with a lovely finish here. Leo Castro with an even lovelier finish later on, but Spokane had put some of their early chances away in this one. It could certainly have been an entirely different result.
Leo Castro, as we're about to see here, scored a filthy goal on the back heel, and he is going to be our player to watch for this evening's game, and for good reason. The veteran is looking confident.
Yep, the 34-year-old from Columbus, we see there, scored in the league and also scored in the cup win earlier this week with a header against South Carolina Bantams. Like his opposite number tonight, Christian Cheney. This is a guy that can score in so many different ways. Forward Madison will have to keep a close eye on him.
He's got a bag of tricks. And on the other end of things, our player to watch is a familiar face for the Greenville Triumph. Devin Boyce played with the club last season. Now he's wearing Madison colors, and he's already on the score sheet this season for the Mingos. We'll look to make it a second goal here tonight.
Yeah, his third League One team obviously won the title with Omaha, previously facing his former side tonight. Energizer Bunny of this midfield will be harassing Greenville players all over the place. Didn't quite get his offensive game going for Triumph, but already scored this season for Madison.
Well, who's going to get 3 points in them tonight at the end of this busy week? It's the Greenville Triumph and Forward Madison on the other end of this break on ESPN+. You're not going to want to miss it.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
Well, I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location?
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we are proud to be a family-owned practice serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. At Wood Creek Dental, we believe in quality care and exceptional service. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. We've invested in modern technology and have created a relaxing atmosphere for your comfort and peace of mind. We prioritize your experience in our calm and caring atmosphere. Our commitment to providing you and your family with exceptional service is at the heart of everything we do. And our patient-centered approach builds relationships based on trust and confidence. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental. Dental care from our family to yours.
Here we are at Paladin Stadium between Forward Madison and Greenville Triumph. Mark Schoenstert, Ross Davenport with you here on ESPN+. Week 3 of the USL League One season here in 2024, the 6th year of its existence. 2 playoff teams last year as we look at the starting lineups. First off, for the Greenville Triumph, not a lot of changes here, but Pascal Corvino getting the look.
Yeah, no changes from the midweek road win in the Cup. Yeah, the formation back to the 3 at the back. They tried a little in preseason, used it in the midweek Cup win, so sticking with it here. Likely matching what Madison have. Still missing Mohamed Say, Oliver Hald injured, as well as Carlos Anguiano, Hassan Gabo on international duty with Somalia.
Rick Wright, the head coach for Greenville this season. Meanwhile, for Forward Madison, a lot of familiar names on this lineup.
Yeah, we talked to Matt Glazer earlier in the week. He said he had the luxury of making all these changes. 8 swaps for the midweek win over Duluth in the Cup. Cheney comes in for Villalobos from the last league game. But yeah, interesting. We talked to Matt about the duel up top with Cheney and Galindres, and he's going with it here. It should give those back 3 from Greenville some trouble, perhaps.
an incredibly deep roster that Matt Glazer has got rocking this year. You look at some of those names that are sitting on the bench, and those are guys who have started in years past for other League One teams, who have started for Forward Madison. So I can't imagine what training is like week in and week out with that squad. But a lot of great talent, a lot of experienced talent on that Mingo side. There's also a lot of talent in that huddle right there for the Triumph.
We'll see if fresh legs become an issue later in this one, Mark, with the changes that Madison made from that midweek game in Greenville. A little short-handed due to the injuries. I mentioned Hassan Gabo on international duty. Somalia 3-0 losers earlier in the week in AFCON qualifying. They had a 16-year-old on the bench tonight, Academy lad. See if he has to play, Mr. Anthony Grudko. Windy night. It was supposed to be a lot wetter than it is, Mark. Greenville were a little worried about the weather again, just like they were for their first game, but they got lucky, and it's a beautiful evening at Paladin Stadium.
Yeah, sitting around 60 degrees right now, which is more than good enough to play some football in. And we are underway here. It's Forward Madison and the Greenville Triumph in week 3. Our head official for today, Wes Cowett. That one finding Juan Galindrez. Garner all the way off his line, clears that one away. Juan Galindrez wearing number 19, Christian Cheney wearing number 9, both sporting some blonde hair right now.
Yeah, Christian Garner with the early first touch. Rick Wright said midweek he was still deciding, as he was for the first game, who to start in goal between him and Gunther Rankenberg. It'll be a battle between those two all year to see who starts between the pipes for Greenville.
Freddy Sosa also sporting some blonde hair.
Yeah, he
got a lot of them out there, actually.
He was a factor midweek in that game against Duluth. I did that game, Mark, and he came on at halftime and really changed things. It was 0-0 at the break. Madison scored twice.
Lee keeps that one away from Galindrez, and actually I think it was Chilaka who was rocking that blonde hair, but Chilaka
yes.
and Sosa both sitting on that left-hand side. Mentioned that there's a lot of talent on this Madison team, a lot of wing talent on this team on the outside. Got Derek Gebhardt, Sosa, Payne. Devin Boyce can play on the wing as well. Schultz tried to keep it in play, but it will bounce out for a goal kick.
Take that back. Cheney did score the early goal in that game against Duluth. It was a tight game at the break. Sosa came in and had the assist on the second goal for Christian Cheney. Speaking of assists, the assist on that first goal from Jake Fedura. What a pass that was over the top to Cheney. See if he gets a look on the bench tonight. Man on a 25-day contract. You can see how windy it is. St. Madison going into the wind in this first half. Also see how far up Sebastian Velasquez is pushing. Obviously knew Madison would be in the true 2 up top with those 2 number 9s. Not sure how Greenville would come out at it. Leo Castro, obviously the really only true striker on this field at the moment. Lamb McKinnon, more of a wide option by nature. Velasquez, we saw him in that first game play a lot wider, Mark, in the 4-back formation, and now tonight playing more centrally.
Corvino, and a whistle blown by our head official. Once again, Wes Cowett, the man in charge. Let's take a look at our keys to the game here. First off, for the Greenville Triumph, it'll be the prevent counterattacks. These keys to the game brought to you by Acumen IT. We talked a little bit about it with Rick Wright this week, that he saw an improvement in that Open Cup game, but he still thinks this side could be better in that category.
Yeah, the wingback situation tonight, Sosa and Payne a little more offensively gifted than Polak and Schultz. They're going to have their hands full tonight with those two. And for Madison, feed the beast, the 2 big boys up top. We don't see too many teams start true number 9s up top like this in League One. It's going to be an interesting night for the likes of Evan Lee, Brandon Fricke, and Jamie Smith.
Got another whistle here, so free kick, bring this one back. Briefly mentioned that Open Cup game on Wednesday for Greenville, beating South Carolina United Bantams 1-0. Rick Wright mentioned that it was a great game. The surface was a bit rough, but his team was able to figure it out, and they were preparing for it. on the grass fields over here in Greenville and build up to the game. Mentioned there was a small Greenville contingent there to support them, but it was a really nice welcome on the host club's part. He mentioned you could tell they took a lot of pride in hosting and did a really good job of making it a big deal over there.
Yeah, the Bantams parked the bus a little bit, forcing Greenville to just win 1-0. See if they can get the offense back going again tonight. Obviously had 3 goals in that season opening win over Spokane. Just a little more dynamic of a tactic than John Harkes used to have. Obviously different players as well, especially in the middle of the park.
Yeah, a lot of changes there. As we brought up on the first broadcast, Rick Wright described it as putting in a new engine in the car in that midfield. Guys like Velasquez, Herrera. Today we've got Pascal Corvino in there as well.
I mentioned in the lineups, Carlos Anguiano with some USL Championship experience. Perhaps the likely starter over the rookie Corvino when healthy. You feel a little unfortunate for Zion Scarlett. Scored an opening win, not in the lineup tonight, maybe just as a result of the formation change. From the 4-2-3-1 to the 3-5-2. I'm sure we'll see Scarlett tonight at some point, however.
The young guy with a lot of athleticism could be a good spark substitution in the second half.
Jamie Smith, interestingly on the left side. We saw him mostly on the right side of the formation last season. Evan Lee more naturally a left-sided center back when he did play back there. So switching sides tonight, these two. We talked to Rick Wright about it before the Spokane game because we'd seen some rumors of them playing the 3 at the back system, and he said it went terribly in the loss to Charleston. But it was the first game of the preseason. Obviously just trying things out. He feels comfortable enough working on it in training to try it again tonight for the 2nd straight game.
Mentioned potential substitutions for Greenville. Looking at the potential substitutions for Madison. It's a doozy of a lineup over there, and you talked about 8 players being rotated in the starting lineup for the Mingos. In their Open Cup game against Duluth, Matt Glazer said that we were able to switch just about everyone, and that's a blessing that not every team in this league has. He said, we have some guys coming back from injuries who were able to get some time in that game. He said it was a real makeshift group that hadn't played much together until that Open Cup matchup, but getting Cheney's some goals was nice. And like you mentioned, that assist from Federer was also good. Just to see some of these players get some competitive minutes with each other. Because you can simulate that all you want in training, but it's just a different animal when you get into a game and you've got 90 minutes to find a result. And it's up against players that you don't play with every single day, too. That changes that element of it.
No, the 2 benches are stark comparisons when it comes to experience. Daniel Wu, only a second year player. Ben Zakowski, a rookie for Greenville. Grudko, the academy guy. Aiden Naz, another youngster. Zion Scarlett, obviously with a bit more experience, as well as Carlos Anguiano on the bench tonight. We'll see if he makes an impact.
Galindrez back in USL League One after a year stint in the championship. Boy, was he fun to watch in Chattanooga.
Talking about depth, obviously the CBA limiting these roster sizes a little bit when you have a couple of injuries and somebody on international duty. Anguiano definitely not healthy enough to start as we see tonight, but we'll see if he's even healthy enough to come off the bench as Galindrez. Furky having a little hug.
Sure, only kind words being exchanged there between 2 League One stars, I would say.
Well, number 1, Galindrez made his name coming off the bench for Chattanooga. Getting the start here tonight.
Also had a penchant for scoring the latest of late goals.
Yes.
That Chattanooga team, what was it, 2021? I believe it was 2021 where they scored so many goals in that final 15 minutes of games.
We didn't see him and Cheney in the first game, just Cheney was coming off an injury. Mostly impressed with 2 superb finishes in that win over Duluth. If you haven't seen them, definitely go back and look.
Could have had 1 or 2 more as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here's a moment.
Oh.
McKinnon is trying to pick the pocket. And we may get a booking here, and we will. Preventing a big chance there. That was John Murphy getting a yellow card. And Greenville starting quickly. Corvino gets knocked over by Cheney, and that's just his big frame. Ball's still in play, and it's out for a Greenville throw.
Well, that's one of the more bizarre yellow cards you're going to see in League One. Poor John Murphy was hoping for a whistle. Take another look at it here. Didn't see a foul. He went down very easily and then just dived on the ball like a keeper. He was lucky he had some help back. Otherwise, that card could have been a different color.
Looks like we've got a corner kick now after a deflection. That yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport.
Yeah, you can see the flag on the corner flag. The wind definitely in favor of Greenville in this first half. Well, as you can see, you can see exactly how hard that wind's blowing. I always say, right, take the wind in the first half because you never know when the wind might change, and you could choose to try and take it second half and then the wind changes.
McKinnon on the service. Bends in. That ball started rolling a moment before McKinnon hit it. Velasquez takes a shot, and that one off target. Yeah, this isn't a grass field where you could maybe dig yourself a little hole to set up the soccer ball. This is turf.
It was a dangerous delivery. A couple of Greenville players had a chance at it. Velasquez always leaning back on that one. With the wind behind, you're going to have to keep those balls down.
Next dead ball, do the USL kickoff read. I'll wait for the next one. Chilaka throws it in and get things going once again. When it came to scouting out this Madison team, Rick Wright mentioned that his assistant coach had a short novel prepared on them. He said also 2/3 of the guys had already watched the game by the time they had their film session on this Madison team. Just going to show you the kind of group that Madison have, or sorry, that Greenville have. So we get this free kick.
And Greenville were off last weekend, so I had a chance to watch Madison play. Do you like these Madison kits, by the way, Mark?
Oh, they look very good. Hey fans, welcome to the 2024 USL Kickoff presented by Terminix. Throughout the month of March, the USL will be kicking off across the country. Join us for all the action on ESPN and CBS Sports platforms. It's kind of hard to go wrong with those vertical stripes, but especially when you can give your own little spin on them. You don't see a lot of pink vertical stripes across professional soccer. I mean, you don't see a lot of pink kits at all. So it's a situation where Madison always loves to go with some outside-the-box kit ideas, but this is a situation where they can go with something traditional and it still has their own spin on it just due to the branding and color scheme that they've got.
Certainly get the branding down right in Madison, no doubt about that. Of course, we had an early kickoff tonight in League One. Richmond against Tormenta. They're in the second half there. Tormenta with a 1-0 lead. Knoxville and Lexington also with an early start. They're approaching halftime, no goals there.
Schultz steps on that pass, was behind the players making a run. And now Polak will push forward. Feeds it to Velasquez. Velasquez to Schultz. Schultz plays it back. Here's a winding shot straight into the arms of the keeper. Pascal Corvino, the rookie, letting that one fly.
Yeah, good to see Corvino getting forward, likely to sit back with Herrera in the defensive midfield role, but hanging out 20 yards out there. Caught that one well, could have got a deflection anywhere there. Plenty of bodies in between the ball and Bernd Shipman.
Yeah, Bernd Shipman, for those not acquainted yet, a stellar goalkeeper, made his entrance in League One last season, and boy, was he tough to beat. Payne. Service doesn't get past Polak.
Shipman got off to a great start last season, but remember how Madison struggled down the stretch. He allowed 24 goals in the team's final 12 games of the season. Only one of those as they limped into the playoffs and then lost heavily. But he was 5th with 84 saves. Here Tormenta with a 2-0 lead now over Richmond.
So we got 16-mile-per-hour winds with 20-mile-per-hour gusts in Greenville, just to get you another idea of how much that's affecting this game.
Yeah, we saw the bizarre goal. Was it last weekend in Chicago in the MLS? The guy scored from, I think it was almost 50 yards out. He just hoofed it into the box, and the goalkeeper misjudged it. Floated over him into the back of the net. So you always have to be careful tonight.
Yeah, those corner kicks especially, you never know when a gust could hit and cause some mayhem if you try to loft that ball up into the air. Chatted with Matt Glazer about his roster this season and how in that last game against Tormenta, when I was watching it, that there was one name I did not recognize from League One play that played in that matchup. And I asked him, I mean, how valuable is it to have that commodity when you're preparing, that you've got all these guys who already know the deal when it comes to playing USL League One soccer. They know about the challenges with travel. They know about what these different teams are made of, what these different pitches are like, the varying environments. And he said, well, the nicest thing is that you tell them once and they get it. They've been there. You don't have to continually harp on something. It also makes it easier for integrating when a player comes in on the logistics side of things, like when they move to Madison, what boxes they got to check. He said, but gameplay-wise, though, it's the same as bringing in anybody else who's new. It takes some time for all the players to get gelled, which makes sense.
Yeah, one of the more interesting things in League One is how these teams are put together. Greenville, even when John Harkes was there, always a team that had rookies that would come into play, especially up top. A ton of rookies this season. Madison, certainly one of the teams with a slightly more sizable payroll than some of the teams in League One, and as a result, they can afford to play some of these veterans, a few more of these veterans, I should say. Meanwhile, Greenville sort of had to fill out the roster with a number of rookies. They've done so well with it. Every team has their own way of doing things.
Yeah, you definitely have your certain brand of players for these different clubs, where they come from, who they've played for, what their skill set is typically compiled of. How many times you'll see a new player for a club, and you go, oh yeah, that's definitely the kind of guy that would end up there.
Now, Matt Glazer was very happy to retain as many guys as he did after the clear out in the first year. That was lovely from Chapa Herrera there.
Polak tees it forward, but sniffing that one out was Timmy Mel. Mel laid that one forward, but he got knocked over in the process.
Silly from Liam McKinnon. We saw him give away a penalty in the home opener. Wasn't his fault, that poor ball from Polak, but McKinnon's got to perhaps come towards it a little more, got frustrated. Gave up the foul there in a dangerous position into the wind. Sometimes can affect goalies even more, because you see that ball come off the foot and you say, oh, I can get to that, and then it gets held up in the wind and you don't get there. So Christian Garner's got to be careful here if the delivery is one which I'll expect it to be around the penalty spot somewhere.
Let's see who provides the service. Players loading up at the top of the 18. It'll be Devin Boyce. Bounces in. Mel gets a shot off, and it skips into the hands of Garner.
Another great delivery there from Boyce. Greenville almost made a mess of it. Another look at it here. Yeah, Tyler Polak. We've seen him have better clearances than that one. Got away with it, though.
Herrera. This will get knocked back to the captain, Brandon Fricke, who turned 32 yesterday.
Happy birthday to him.
Longtime League One player, has played all 6 years, 5 of them with Greenville.
Yeah, we talked to Rick Wright about the captaincy before that first game. Tyler Polak and Aaron Walker shared captaincy duties this year. He said Tyler wasn't disappointed. think he said he was inside, right? A little bit disappointed to lose the captaincy, but he understands a little bit less pressure on him. I think Tyler's going to enjoy this left wing back role, not having to worry about getting back defensively as much.
Evan Lee, a guy who's seen his position shift and change throughout the past season and this season. Chilaka plays that one out for a Greenville throw. Schultz quickly puts it back in play. Velasquez tried to sneak that one by.
Yeah, I think Evan Lee might feel a little hard done by after finding the score sheet in the first game and now finding himself back at center back, but he's a team player. He understands that Rick Wright seems to enjoy this 3 at the back system. Give it a go here, at least for the time being. Perhaps matching up with Madison's here. Maybe Wednesday was a bit of a sort of practice session for that, Mark, if Rick was looking ahead that far. There's McAlaser there.
Always a very demonstrative coach on the sideline.
It's always interesting to me when goalkeepers become coaches, right? As a goalkeeper, I assume growing up you don't get involved too much in the tactical side of things, and now you have to learn the outfield side of things. He's got some help though, and some capable help as well in Madison. Rick Wright always talks to us about the importance of the assistant coaches. Mark Ward coming in this season, and a huge help for Rick in his transition to being a head coach for the first time since college.
Next head ball to the select read. You're doing great. Velasquez with the cross inside, header on goal, saved! Burnt Shipman punches it over. Leo Castro looking for another goal. Was trying to make it 3 straight games to start out the regular season.
Superb delivery from Velasquez, and you'd have put money on Leo Castro scoring from there. Just couldn't get the header either side of Shipman. It was a good save in the end. Got his hands up quickly.
Corner flying in. Too much air underneath it. Velasquez. Trying to shake off Boyce, but he's not easy to get rid of. This one pops up. Schultz trying to bring it down. And then Chilaka knocks this one away. Garner doing really well there. Juan Galindrez was in front of him.
Oh, it was all for nothing. He was offside. Does that get counted as a clearance? I don't know. Yeah, Greenville certainly have the better of this first 20 minutes, Mark.
Select the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship, League One, and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select the player's choice. Yes, sir. Polak bringing it forward to Castro. Castro inside. It's Schultz, the one who is at the end of that one. We're seeing Nate Schultz get way up the pitch today. He's really enjoying being in that more wing-back spot. We were talking before the game that was really more his natural position before he came to Greenville and had to adapt and mold in that right back spot, which once he took that position, he did not let go of it since he's come here.
Yeah, I think one thing Rick Wright has done with the limited roster here is sort of put your guys in the best spot that you can. He's got 3 capable center backs, so why not start 3 capable center backs? He's got 2 capable defensive midfielders and 2 wing backs. Polak certainly hasn't played a ton of wing back in his career, but we've seen him play left midfield at times, and Schultz always effective going forward. So I think Rick Wright's done a good job of getting the maximum out of this squad. As we mentioned, a ton of youngsters as well. We haven't seen the likes of Mohamed Say yet. Oliver Hald got hurt in the pre-game midweek, so he's not in the squad tonight. Did see him briefly at the end of that win over Spokane.
Here come Madison. Cheney plays it forward. He's looking to connect with Gebhard. And now Smith will boot it up the pitch. And Castro looking to chase it down. But it's bumped into the hands of Shipman. Well done by Mitch Osmond. One vet against another vet there. Osmond so reliable on that Madison back line, donning the captain's armband. No foul called when the big man went down. Greenville so far have not had to be too worried about any of these Madison counterattacks. Mentioned it as one of the keys to this game for Greenville. Rick Wright was mentioning that he wants his guys on the back line to diagnose when a counterattack would be deadly and do everything they can to cover it up before it happens. So for example, when Greenville had possession and are on the attack, a guy like Brandon Fricky or Evan Lee can go, okay, well, if they lost the ball right here, we could be in trouble. So let me just push my position over to this spot, and then it won't be an issue anymore. So far, a Madison counterattack that could prove to be potent this year with the talent they've got at their disposal. Hasn't been able to do anything too frightening offensively.
Yeah, I think where Madison might be able to have some successes out wide. Schultz and Polak perhaps get caught up field. There's a chance here now, perhaps.
Ball threaded forward for Gebhard. He's another player who usually plays outside, but he's tucked in a little bit more in this game. I think it's a situation of a guy who is playing so well that he has to get on the pitch, even if you're going to start both Sosa and Payne.
Yeah, like Gebhardt perhaps is the creative option in the middle, trying to feed those two up top. Boyce and Murphy more defensively.
He does the non-negotiables, as Matt Glazer calls it. He was talking about this game and the things he wants to see his team accomplish, and he mentioned that we want to focus on those non-negotiables. We want to see work off the ball. He said that everybody does everything here in Madison, and he wants to see the body language take another tick up, as this one floated in for Cheney, who went skyward for it, but Garner, who can use his hands, has the advantage. Mentioned when you go to play Greenville, it's a long travel day, it's a tight field, but his side's prepared for it. But when you talk about someone with body language or putting in the effort off the ball, Derek Gebhard has done that for years now. There's a reason why he's stuck around. Another one of those two Madison strikers going down and no whistle blown. I don't think it's easy to knock over either Cheney or Galindres, both 6 feet or taller. Gebhard turns back. Murphy spray it over to Chilaka. Schultz doing well there.
Yeah, I mentioned it midweek. Madison's trying to be like, remember when Chattanooga had all those bleach blonde hair guys a couple of years ago?
Got quite a few of them on the pitch right now, including one of them who was on that Chattanooga team, Juan Galindres.
That's right.
I remember that lineup. Ricky Ruiz was another one of those guys. Velasquez. Castro trying to flip it back to Velasquez. Polak tracking back to retain possession for the Triumph. Floated in. Castro takes one touch. Castro still with it. And then he's going to be called for a foul. Had a leg up against Mitch Osmond.
Yeah, first touch was beautiful. Second touch just a little heavy for Leo Castro.
We've seen Castro be a lot more bold this season with some of the moves and decisions he's made. Perhaps Rick Wright before the season. I'm not sure if it's because he came in right before the season started for Greenville last year, or if it's a new coach saying, you know what, go crazy, do what you want to do. Let the vet, who's seen a lot of professional soccer, do some dancing.
think the way this team is set up gives Castro a little more freedom now than he had previously. A lot more attacking options, a lot more creative options now in that Greenville midfield.
Garner didn't get the best contact on that ball, so it will bend out. Boyce, as many League One fans know, never giving up on a play. There's a closer look at Matt Glazer. Speaking of some of the big guys he's got up top, Matt Glazer, a statured man himself. If we were going to do a tier list, Ross, of the coaches I wouldn't want to get into a fight with, I think Matt Glazer might be up the top, because that's a big dude who I'm sure could pack a punch.
He's got the beard, the voice. Yeah. We had a funny chat there about Christian Cheney and his his backflip goal celebrations, and how nervous. Let's look at Rick Wright too with the jacket on tonight.
It's a chilly day in Greenville. Pollock. Boyce plays it forward. Fricky stands onto it. Herrera to Velasquez. He'll step to his left. Service comes inside. Osman heads it away. And then Boyce with the clearance. Velasquez. Here is McKinnon, with the shot. Lion McKinnon trying to get onto the score sheet. Rick Wright called him a quality human being, a great person with a great sense of humor. He also mentioned that they talk a lot about cooking, Lion McKinnon and Rick Wright. In this series, trying to learn to take better care of his body. He was the kind of guy last season whom the coach would be like, all right, Lion, you need to get some rest, and Lion would turn around and still take 60 or more shots to get some practice, which obviously you appreciate the drive and the commitment, but sometimes the best decision is to go and rest and recover. And Rick Wright said he's doing better about that this season, and he's so open to learning new things and looking to grow.
So part of becoming a pro is of getting those college habits out. Part of coaching is coaching those college habits out, right? Of staying in bed a little longer, taking care of your body a little better. That's where these leadership guys from Greenville come in. They're helping the youngsters learn the ways of League One and how to succeed as a professional player.
Castro putting in the work to win the ball back. Driving down the gut. Still Castro. He takes a tumble, and that's right outside the 18, I would think, but it's another booking for Madison.
Lovely direct run by Castro, just charging through the middle. Timmy Mel doing what he had to do to slow it down. Dangerous spot here.
Mel with his first yellow card of the season. This yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport. So we're gonna get this free kick from about the 17-yard hash mark. You've got Velasquez, Smith, Corvino, and also Schultz right on by. Let's see who takes this. On a windy day, this one could go anywhere, Ross.
Also doesn't make sense. When you've got yards, you think you get them back 10, and they're clearly only back 9. That doesn't make any sense to me. Referee, use your yards lines to help you.
Velasquez shoots, and that had some bite to it, but a little too much height.
Velasquez bringing that left-footed hammer into this Greenville squad. Now that looked like off the foot it was going to dip in, but it never dipped in the end.
That's the kind of shot you need, though, to cut through this wind, because if you give it anything lighter than that, then the wind could gust it away. Castro trying to jump on Shipman there. Golindres up to Gebhardt. Oh, it's Cheney playing on the outside. Not often do you see Christian Cheney having to work around the perimeter, but again, when these two strikers are in the game, you can't have them both be camping up top. Velasquez to Schultz. Nate Schultz chips this one inside, and Shipman punches it away.
Good work by Shipman there. See, he slightly hesitated perhaps off the foot initially, then the wind brought it back towards him. Had to come out and make the punch clearance.
Here's a look on the replay. Shipman punching it away. You're hearing another voice in the background. That's because Furman Paladin softball is also happening right by Paladin Stadium. Multi-sport night in Greenville on the campus of Furman University. Maybe get some fans perched up at the top of the bleachers. You can get a little double game action. Look left, look right. I'm not sure what the layout is right around there, what the perfect seat for something like that would be. Gebhardt keeping it in play. Gebhardt plays it back to Cheney. It's off target. Christian Garner far away from goal, but Christian Cheney couldn't put it on target.
Yeah, Garner committed, got caught in no man's land. Beautiful job by Gebhardt. Cheney should have perhaps done a little better.
Cheney scoring 2 goals in the Open Cup on Tuesday. Looking for his first goal in league play this season. Well, we are still locked up at 0-0. And we're going to get a free kick for Greenville. A new era of USL kicks off in April. Join us Saturday, April 6th on CBS as Louisville City FC take on Indy 11 at 4 p.m. Eastern at Lynn Family Stadium in Louisville, kicking off the first ever national broadcast of the USL on these CBS networks. What an awesome occasion that will be, Ross. Of course, the new broadcast deal with CBS, so we're already getting games on CBS, CBS Sports Network, the Golasso Network. That's where Greenville Triumph will be next Friday.
Yeah, you and I will be bringing that game to you against Lexington. That'll be a fun one.
Cross comes in, header goes straight up in the air. Smith across the middle. Here's Evan Lee. Clutches, tried to drag it forward. Schultz gets it back to Velasquez. Sosa. Well, some friendly fire there on Jamie Smith. Now Gebhardt gets knocked down, and Corvino's going to get a booking.
Yeah, professional foul there by Corvino. Go back to Evan Lee. Had too much time almost, like last week. Last game, in League One, he smashed that one in first time. This time he had a little too much time. Foul there by the rookie Corvino. Came out through the tryout process. Wright said last week he knew almost immediately that he wanted to sign him.
Has an intensity about him.
Madison with only 19% of the action down in the Greenville final third at the moment. Greenville certainly dominated this half. Not possession-wise, but just perhaps overall, the overall feel of this game, Mark, is that Greenville have had the better of this first half with 7 minutes to go. Madison with just the one shot so far. Sorry, yeah, just the one shot on target, I should say. Greenville with twice as many touches inside the opponent's box, 6-3. But only a slight 5% edge in possession for the home team. they've looked comfortable, I would say, so far. Galindres and Cheney have been kept very quiet, other than that one half chance a few minutes ago from Cheney.
Herrera will play this one back to the Greenville back line. As far as chemistry is concerned for this Madison team, I asked Matt Glazer just to get a bit of a litmus test on where this team was at. Given this year they have more retention than they did last year, as you mentioned, Ross, of the wholesale changes going into the 23 season. This year, a lot more carryover, 12 to 13 guys. Matt Glazer said that they're still figuring it out, though, but it does make it easier with the roster retention. He said, so far, so good. We like where we're at. He said it's the best group of guys that he's had yet, and I can see why. Just go up and down the roster, and you could tell that this is a bunch of dudes. Herrera. Switch play. Smith. Corvino returns it right back.
You have to wonder if Matt Glazer perhaps might be thinking about a change, if not in personnel, perhaps formation. Those two strikers have been left far too far alone. Midfield being dominated by Greenville.
Yeah, maybe a guy like Aiden Macias could be of use. Didn't make an appearance in the Tormenta game, but started in the Open Cup game, and Macias proven a very quality player in the middle of the pitch. Also got Agustin Davila, whom we talked with Glazer about a little bit during the midweek. A guy that may need some time to get acclimated to the League One game, but definitely has some quality. Loose touches there from Sosa. That was heavy from Devin Boyce as he knocks over Herrera.
Maybe a bit of frustration there from Boyce. Velasquez and Herrera doing a good job of dominating the middle of the park so far in this one.
Velasquez will drag it over to Smith as Greenville push forward once again. Smith still with it. Trying to get through three defenders as now this one is won back by the Mingos.
Good job by Herrera there. Smith was scrambling back into position. Herrera stopped the transition opportunity.
Schultz. A little back heel from Herrera, but no one's there to receive it. And a lackluster clearance finds Nate Schultz once again. Nate Schultz has had himself quite a half, I would say. He's been very involved. Velasquez. Cuts to his left. Schultz with it now. Back to Velasquez. Castro. Over to Schultz. And after a double deflection off of Madison players, it's a Greenville throw.
Yeah, just looking at some of the touch numbers. John Murphy with only 25 touches in that midfield. Meanwhile, Greenville, Chapo Herrera's got 50, Corvino 42, Velasquez 41. Tells you the story of this first half, Mark.
Here come Greenville again, pushing forward. Velasquez, stepping, trying to feed to Castro. It's back to Velasquez. Castro, out to Herrera. Chilaka knocking over Velasquez.
There's going to be a penalty, I think.
The ref pointing over to the spot. It was right around the perimeter.
This is almost exactly the same play. If you watch the game midweek, there was a decision in the win over the Bantams where it was Jamie Smith that got clattered into in almost exactly the same fashion inside the box, and they called the free kick outside the box. And here Chalaka with just, I'm not sure what he was thinking.
Yeah, you have Velasquez with the ball going away from the goal, right at the edge of the 18. Knocks him over. And a penalty awarded by Wes Cowett, our head official. Leo Castro will go to the spot. Already has a goal this season. Also scored that game-winning goal in the Open Cup game during the midweek. But he's up against Bernd Shipman, a goalie who has stopped penalty shots, last season. So let's see what the veteran has in store. The Colombian against the German. A chance to give Greenville the lead right as we hit 45 minutes played. The go-ahead has been given. Castro with two hands on his hips. Very slowly. And it's saved! Shipman dives on it. Maybe a bit too much wind-up from the veteran striker. And Bernd Shipman, once again, denying entry from the spot.
Beautiful save by Shipman. Made his decision early. Remember, he saved that penalty against Aaron Walker last season. That turned into a goal going the other way. This time he holds on to it.
And a free kick incoming for Madison now. Bernd Shipman, his second year with the club from Munster, Germany.
Yeah, he saved 2 penalties last season, one from Aaron Walker, one from Billy King. Also let 6 in, though, last season.
It's a lot of penalties to face, though, in here.
You remember Aaron Walker got his revenge in the 1-0 victory for Greenville back in July when he scored against him.
Can Madison find something here? Boyce with the service inside. Galindres trying to sneak it. You know, he can contort his body in any which way and put a ball on goal.
Doing a good job of annoying Christian Garner, trying to bring the ball out.
So 90 seconds of the 2 minutes have gone by here. Greenville with a chance to take the lead from the spot, but Leo Castro walled off by Shipman. Velasquez trying to play it forward, and that'll roll out of bounds, and you would think that's where the whistle will blow. And right on cue. 45 plus have transpired here at Paladin Stadium, but no goal between these two sides despite a late penalty attempt for the Greenville Triumph. Bernd Shipman coming up big for the visitors. And that is where we will go to break here after the first half of action. 0-0 between the Triumph and Madison. We'll see if either of these sides can step up and find a goal in the second half and win all 3 points in this Week 3 affair. Been an interesting one so far. Should have another fun 45 coming up. We'll break down the in-season tournament and some of the scores here during the halftime break. We'll see you then on ESPN+.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
One little lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean big. Bigger than jackpot big. Like back in 2014, when lottery funds helped upgrade South Carolina's classrooms, giving students the tools they needed to follow their biggest ideas wherever they live, through school and far beyond. For over 20 years, the biggest lottery wins have been and always will be for our state students. After all, education is our middle name.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we're proud to be a family-owned practice serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental. Dental care from our family to yours.
My name is Noble Nessie, and I'm the queen of the Noble Dog Hotel. I'm also an alumni of our Canine Healing Project. Noble Dogs 5-star resort provides furry friends with all sorts of top-notch amenities. The grooming spa offers everything from a luxury bath to a nail trim to my favorite, a blueberry facial. For humans on the go, Noble Dog offers 5-star boarding with 24-hour care, room service, and even a webcam. My humans always book the Pausidential Suite because I sleep better after evening story time. For shorter days, Noble Dog also offers 2-hour, half-day, and full-day daycare passes. And because we value human-canine harmony, Noble Dog offers etiquette training. I would know. I'm a certified therapy dog. All in all, the Noble Dog Hotel is unlike any other. So come on out. We can't wait to meet your furry friend.
We're here at Paladin Stadium. After 45 minutes of action, neither team could get on the scoreboard despite Leo Castro going to the penalty spot, being denied by Burnt Shipman. But that was the first half. Second half is coming up. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the Jägermeister Cup in USL League One, the in-season tournament. We'll step aside to get more of the details on the fun that's coming up soon.
In 2024, USL League One will introduce a new in-season cup competition built on regional rivalries and added dimensions to the game itself. Like cups around the world, this new tournament will consist of group play and a knockout round. The 3 groups of 4 will consist of the East Group, Charlotte, Greenville, Richmond, and Tormenta. The Central Group, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Lexington, and Madison. The West Group, Central Valley, Northern Colorado, Omaha, and Spokane. The clubs will play a home and away round robin within their group. Then they will play 2 matches, 1 home and 1 away, against 2 different teams from another group. In total, each club will play 8 matches in group action. The top team in each group will advance to the semifinals, joined by the non-group leader with the most goals scored. This innovation will encourage more attacking and entertaining play. That's not the only fun adjustment. If a group stage game finishes tied at the end of regulation time, a penalty kick shootout will take place with an extra point in the standings on the line. The cup will evolve and grow over the next few years, bringing more drama and more memories for all.
Go get it, Doug.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Doing that work till it hurts, you know the drill. It's like I went on a hike, cause cute, I'm king of the hill. They think I don't know it, still can't touch me, don't want floating. All of the moves you make are bogus, some of them dicks don't play some. Starting for down, detail, gotta be clean, no excuses, let's go. You know the drill.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Yeah, we We're coming in strong, and you will not forget it. We're here to take you on, and we can fight and we defend it. We never looking back, we focused on the road. We didn't come to play, and now we never let it go. Yeah, we wanna take it higher.
Follow up in! Louisville level in the 70th. He puts it in. Indy 11 leads on the road.
Yeah, we wanna take it higher.
Looks great.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Getting the exact vehicle you want is easy at Zimbrick Volkswagen of Middleton. Come in and sit down with one of our sales professionals and build the Volkswagen you want. Pick all the features, order it, and then sit back and relax, knowing you're getting your dream vehicle. The best things in life are worth waiting for after all. Check out our selection online or in person, with new vehicles arriving every day. Your perfect Volkswagen could already be waiting for you at Zimbrick Volkswagen of Middleton.
Welcome back here to halftime on ESPN Plus. First up, our news and notes around USL League One. First off, the Open Cup this week. 11 of the 12 teams in USL League One advanced on to April. We do have some interleague clashes at the beginning of the month, including Greenville against Knoxville. Madison, I have to double check who they're up against. I just forgot off the top of my head who they're playing. Let's take a peeky here in the US Open Cup. Oh, they haven't added to their schedule yet. Well, you can find it online there. National coverage, we talked about it in the first half of action. CBS between Indy 11 and Louisville City. A lot of fun. Those are two great clubs in USL Championship. So that's a great representative matchup to kick off the national coverage on USL Championship. Then Player of the Week, Angelo Kelly Rosales winning for Knoxville after his great performance against the Independents. And speaking of Team of the Week, there he is, Angelo Kelly with a great standout performance. Devin Boyce getting a shout out from the Mingos for his goal scored against Tormenta. Was active in that first half, Ross, but wasn't able to create anything particularly dangerous offensively for the Mingos. And then you got a lot of other familiar names on there.
And some
from
new names
League
too.
One. Yep, and some new names as well. You are correct.
Yanka Mataneres obviously coming in with a pretty serious resume. Here's a look at your scores and schedule.
We've got the Kickers and Tormenta that have been underway. Tormenta looking like they're going to come away with the win. They also, breaking news, just scored a goal in the 96th minute to make it 3-1. Like, that just happened. So, looks like Ian Cameron's side's going to go into City Stadium in their home opener and get all 3 points locked up and locked away. With that in mind, that's where this segment of our halftime coverage will end. I'm Mark Schoenstert. Ross Davenport to my right will be with you for the second half of action on the other end of this break between the Greenville Triumph and Forward Madison.
It starts with only one tap to have total home control with Priority One Security. You can view your cameras and video doorbells, integrate our smart locks, lights, thermostats, and control your garage doors. Customize your smart devices to fit your schedule with our automated controls for a smart, effective, and secure way to protect your home. Experience total control and complete security from the convenience of our one app, one tap smart security and home automation on demand. Call Priority One Security and tap that app. Official partner of the Greenville Triumph.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
Tomorrow. We've been expecting you. At TrueStage, we've been preparing for tomorrow for almost a century, helping businesses give their customers, members, and clients what they need to move forward with confidence. Because for us, the future brings possibility, protection, innovation, growth. With financial solutions across insurance, investments, and technology, the people you serve can take on tomorrow, today. So what are you waiting for? Tomorrow, here we come.
We're back here at Paladin Stadium between the Triumph and Forward Madison. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here on the broadcast on ESPN+. The first 45 minutes, say would favor Greenville, but now that both teams have gone to the dressing room and are back out into the fray of things, could be an entirely different game for the next 45 minutes. But first, let's revisit those first half highlights. Greenville with some opportunities. Nate Schultz, who is very involved. Corvino with the shot that went straight into the arms of Bernd Shipman. This is probably the best chance outside of the penalty kick of the first half of action. And it was also Leo Castro on the end of it, the header. Bernd Shipman able to punch it over the crossbar. And another opportunity here. Bernd Shipman was asked to do a couple things throughout the game and then would be asked to do the worst thing that you could require from a goalkeeper, but he was up for the task. Meanwhile, Christian Cheney not up to put this one on target with Christian Garner away from his line. And then there's the penalty.
Yeah, that was a good look at it. Certainly inside the box. Chalaka telling get up, but it was certainly a shove in the back. There's just no need for it whatsoever.
But Bernd Shipman able to cover the job. Dives out, gets his right arm on it, stopping that one from going through for Castro, which means we are still all knotted up at 0-0 apiece. And here are your stats. Greenville being favored in possession, shots and shots on target, which sort of leads us to what our impressions were as the game was running along. But that being said, Ross, the expected goals between the two sides, 1.07 for Greenville, 0.07 for Madison. And you know, a lot of that number from Greenville is coming from that penalty. So ultimately, despite the fact that Greenville may have had the better of the first 45, they weren't particularly really truly testing Bernd Shipman outside of that one opportunity where he pushed it over the crossbar.
Yep, no, I think the stats certainly tell the story, as you mentioned, Mark. Penalty, I think, is 0.75 or so.
Yeah.
XG. We'll see if any teams make changes at the half. As we see the Madison group, don't see any immediate substitutions.
We'll see what these two sides do personnel-wise throughout this second half and what kind of adjustments they make. You can really see, now that the floodlights are on, Ross, just how nice those kits look. Like when the sun's setting down, everything gets muted a little bit, but once the floodlights are on, it really emphasizes those nice pink stripes. Meanwhile, Greenville donning the green kit with a nice blue sash. I said the first week I'm a sucker for sashes.
It's a scarf sash, a scash, I'm gonna call it.
Leo Castro will be the one to kick this off, but first, Westcott has a chat with one of Madison's players.
I expect to see Madison just try and turn the heat up here in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the second half. Put some pressure on this Greenville back, call it back five.
Back three, back five, whichever way you want to look at it. Fans getting back into it.
Yeah, Castro's chilly. He's trying to keep moving, rubbing his hands. Mentioned the wind. We'll see once we see the flags if it's changed direction, but Madison should have the advantage in the second half here.
45 more minutes on the docket for you between the Triumph and Madison. It's dropped another 5 degrees, so around 55 degrees now. Earlier was 16 miles per hour wind with 20 miles per hour gusts. So it's going to even feel worse than 55 given the wind. And by worse, I mean colder. I'm sure there's some psychos out there who say, well, 50 degrees, 45 degrees, that's the best temperature.
I was in New York yesterday for March Madness, and it was 35 degrees, and my face was hurting. Of course, being a native Floridian, not native Floridian, I should say, being a Floridian for as many years as I have, 35 hurts.
Speaking of March Madness, my condolences to the Forward Madison fans who had to watch Wisconsin lose to James Madison yesterday.
Meanwhile, the Greenville fans were happy. Clemson advancing. Not a traditional basketball powerhouse, more of a football school. Ouch.
They've been pretty good in recent years, though, Clemson.
Nate Schultz down on the plate.
Gebhardt in the left channel. He's got some room to work with. Places at the top of the 18. No one's there for it. McKinnon boots it away.
It was a disappointing cross because he had all the support sitting around the 6-yard box, did Gebhardt. He decided to try and pull it back.
Perhaps also trying to account for that wind. But, I mean, ultimately, I think you just have to operate hoping that the wind doesn't interfere. Mother Nature has a mind of her own. And when she decides to take part, we'll get a free kick for Madison. John Murphy, who got a yellow card in the first half of action, will put it back into play. Him, Timmy Mell, Pascal Corvino, all getting booked in the first 45. Once again, I'm Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with me here on ESPN+.
John Murphy's brother, James Murphy, a winner today for Detroit City. 2-1 over Loudoun in the early USL Championship match. Got the start there.
Herrera getting bumped over by Juan Galindrez, who offered to help him up. Herrera did not accept that offer.
Herrera probably felt that one. Galindrez, not a small individual.
Once again, it's the pair of bruisers up top for Matt Glazer in Cheney and Galindrez. I asked him what the dynamic might look like between those two sides, given they do have similar profiles. He mentioned, you want to get the best 11 out there, so yeah, we want to get them out there. He definitely did not lead me to a direct conclusion that they were going to play both of them today. Certainly left it on the table, though, as Shipman claims this one. He said their profiles are similar, but they're not exactly the same. We've seen Cheney get outside a little bit more in that first 45 minutes of action.
And they played a little bit together at the end of the cup game midweek. Coming back for a free kick here, Mark. Perhaps a bit of a late tackle off camera. It's a ways out there, though.
Big emphasis on set pieces for Rick Wright since he took over for Greenville. He said the players have embraced that increase in emphasis. Talked about how the goal in the Open Cup came from a set piece from the boot of Liam McKinnon. That one's headed away. McKinnon gets there first. Liam McKinnon couldn't drag that by Galindrez. Boyce now. Gebhardt couldn't get by Tyler Pollock. Evan Lee splitting defenders. Castro showing some vigor and then getting called for the foul.
Evan Lee with the fancy footwork. He's missing that defensive midfield role, Margie. Got up there and remembered he does have some skills.
Any chance he can. Look, coach, I can do this. You can put me up there. And Rick Wright mentioned as far as set pieces are concerned, he's implementing some old school stuff, some things from way back. He's been in the game for quite a hot minute. And he said at first some of the players were skeptical, but once they got into the groove of it, they've started to buy in on the process of working on set pieces. A high volume of goals in USL League One come from dead ball situations, so it's a good reason to put some focus, some extra focus on that element of the game. Might be hard to smoothly execute a set-piece goal today given the winds, but it could also, on the other hand, result in one of those weird goals going in because a player misjudges the trajectory of a ball or a gust earns a deflection as this service comes in and Garner tracks it down. Set piece is always a great equalizer in a matchup. It just takes one moment of great execution in order to find a goal, which can always change the complexion of a match. In this case, of course, it would.
Yeah, Greenville been a little better with them since last season. John Harks used to talk about he wanted them to be better at set pieces.
Schultz to Castro.
Not sure Castro expected that to come all the way to him. Chilaka missed it completely. Caught Castro out a little by surprise. Now a chance for Madison to break.
Gebhard moving forward.
He slowed things down there, allowed Greenville to get players back. That's a lovely turn.
Devin Boyce once again showing his aptitude. Service comes up, but just too far ahead of Juan Galindrez. Once again, both these teams coming off a midweek match in the Open Cup. Matt Glazer said that his side had a good game, got some guys some much needed minutes, and nobody was hurt, which is huge.
There was a couple of scares. Stephen Payne went off at halftime after an injury. As we look at Rick Wright, but I guess that was a planned move, with him getting half a game and Sosa getting half a game. And Nazim Bartman also limped off in the second half, but he's okay. May see him off the bench tonight.
Fricky taking that one away from Cheney. Continue to make the run forward. Herrera. And that's Cheney up behind him. Check that. I believe that's Galindrez.
Yeah, Chapa Herrera saying that's the second time in a row now. Somebody's got me from behind. Good use of the body by the veteran.
Polak. Bit of a triangle here between Velasquez, Corvino, and Polak.
Back to Chapa Herrera, over 100 appearances in the USL Championship for El Paso.
Stephen Payne gets that one knocked away by Liam McKinnon. Osmond will put this over to Chilaka, who can't get to it. So, an unenforced turnover in favor of Greenville. Schultz trying to push that one forward, no one around for it. Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app.
Match harking back to the olden days matchups between these two teams, Mark. This is the 14th meeting between these two sides. Remember, the first four had one total goal in them with 3 0-0 draws. Things have picked up since then, though. We had a 4-1 and a 2-2 and a 3-2 last year and this year.
Got the yellow card. Oh. Christian Cheney getting a yellow card for dissent in that sequence. A yellow card brought to you by GSP Airport. Cheney trying to juggle it forward. Boyce parries it out to Payne. Payne inside. Players sliding around, but no one can make contact for Madison.
Apparently an offside in there somewhere. Let's take another look at it here, see if we can see it. Yeah, I think Cheney was just the other side of Jamie Smith. Oh, excuse me, Galindrez.
Boy, is that a tough one. Cheney and Galindrez donning similar hairdos.
See half the numbers yet. Cheney's hair is slightly different color than, slightly different shade under it.
I also think he's got a little more of it, more hair, that is.
She does.
McKinnon trying to win this one back after jumping on the initial pass. Herrera. Winding. Trying to thread it forward. Now Cheney with some room to work with. Christian Cheney. Sprays it left. Gebhardt has to track it down. Cheney took a hit as he cut back inside.
Yeah, he got tangled up with Jamie Smith. Not sure there was much in it. Referee didn't see it either way.
Murphy. The outside of his boot connects with Gebhardt. Madison conjure up something here. Service bending in. Couldn't connect with Galindrez. It's Christian Cheney.
1-1 now, we're tied, Mark. Look at the boots. It's always that's what they teach you, right? Cheney's got the bright yellow boots. Galindrez is a slightly duller color.
Castro with an opportunity. Leo Castro has McKinnon inside, but Osmond does well there to buy some time. Velasquez, now he cuts in. Try to connect with Corvino. Now Herrera. Greenville reset, Polak threads it in the middle. And that touch just behind from Velasquez. McKinnon. That one deflected upward and out. And it'll be a Greenville corner kick. Things holding up here by our head official, Wes Coet. As we're nearly 2/3 of the way through this matchup. Still a player down for 4 in Madison. Here's a look at the collision again.
Spin the ball, hitting his foot.
Timmy Mel, the one who's being checked on.
Yeah, expect we should see some substitution soon. As you mentioned, Madison with distinct advantage off the bench. Right, I will think we'll try to get as much out of his starters as he can.
So now Lyle McKinnon will make his way over to the corner. Not a lot of wind action right now, just a light breeze you can see from the corner flag. But it could pick up at any given moment, as it looks like it is. Castro sitting right in front of the goalkeeper, Bernd Shipman.
And Madison with the sort of 4 zonal markers inside the 6-yard box, and the rest of them picking up runners.
Smith gets contact on it. Schultz tees it back in place. And Fricky almost with the finishing touch. But Bernd Shipman was on top of it.
Yeah, Fricky just didn't react quite quick enough. It was a lovely header in by Smith, and the flick by Castro. Fricky inches from poking that one past Shipman for a 1-0 lead. That's going to be a yellow card in Tyler Polak.
He came crashing in, and he clipped Stephen Payne.
Stephen Payne's had a relatively quiet night. Haven't heard about him getting forward much. Greenville's done a good job of stifling the Madison wingbacks for the most part.
That's a pretty easy booking. Tyler Polak just in late. Stephen Payne.
In pain.
Yes, sir. From Birmingham, Alabama, 26 years old. His second year with the Mingos. Was part of that Richmond Kickers team that won the regular season in 2022. Cheney trying to get by Smith. McKinnon will boot this one away. Brought down by Sosa. And it'll be him who glances off last before we get a goal kick. Talked to Rick Wright a little bit about scouting out players and how hard it is to narrow down on the massive pool of talent you could choose from, not just in the States, but from the entire world. And he said that he's learned quite a bit about how to do it this offseason and how not to do it. He mentioned on Wednesday alone, which is the day before we got to chat with him, he got messages from 5 different players and 4 different agents. And he said, I can't imagine how much harder it was before we had the internet.
Yeah, a lot of teams are being smart with this. Remember the first game we did with Spokane, they barely had enough for a full roster. You save some money, pick up some bargain signings if you can wait a little longer. Find players desperate to sign a contract.
You mentioned recommendations from trusted sources are good for players, but Rick Wright still wants himself or a member of his staff to also vet the player. He said it could be overwhelming, but Mark Ward has come in, the assistant coach, and taken off some of the load, which he seemed incredibly grateful for.
Got a result in the early match. Tormenta with a 3-1 win over Richmond, and Knoxville now with a 2-0 lead in stoppage time against Lexington.
Greenville and Knoxville going to play in the Open Cup, the only inter-league matchup in the second round of the Open Cup. And I got an answer, Ross, at halftime about who Madison are playing. They're going to be visiting the Chicago Fire 2.
Well, I think the Greenville players are wondering if they should have got a handball on Christian Cheney. I think he touched it before it crossed the line. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm not sure if that's what Brandon Furkey's asking about. Free kick or goal kick, I don't think it really matters.
Galindra is applying some pressure to the captain. And there was some contact after the ball was passed away.
Christian Cheney's got to be careful on a yellow card. That sort of nonsense getting a little chippy here. Referee Cowett looking to take control here. Calm things down a little before things get out of control.
Jamie Smith plays it up. McKinnon. Now Corvino. Pollock gets that one knocked away by Boyce for a throw-in. So we're gonna get a substitution here for Greenville. Brought to you by Spinks. The youngster Zion Scarlett, you mentioned him in the first half, was in the starting lineup for the first game, now comes in for Liam McKinnon. So a reload on the offensive side of things makes this our adjustment of the match, brought to you by Upstate Spine and Sport. Let's see if the 19-year-old can be the one to make a difference in this game.
Yeah, Liam McKinnon with a relatively quiet evening in his 65 minutes of action. Only 25 touches. That's the lowest of all the outfield players. It's Timmy Mail down.
Second time he's been on the ground here in the second half.
McKinnon with just the one shot. We'll see if we get a look what happened here. Oof. Might have got a bit of that Castro boot. See Castro, the player behind it, didn't know exactly where Timmy Mail's head was. It wasn't a particularly high boot. Mail sort of stooped. Try and get his head in there. We'll pause in the action here.
But Leo Castro will get a yellow card for the offense. It's hard to not get booked when you put some studs to someone's face, Ross.
Yeah, I think he's a little unlucky there. Hopefully Timmy Mail's face is all right. His teeth are all still in one place. We'll get a bit of a bandage.
You know, be rocking the mummy look for a little bit here.
Was it Jamie Smith that had that going last season? Fricky at one point, I think, a couple of years ago.
I think Daniel Wu during a half also had it last season. He's got the taping across his forehead. And Timuel will play on. A Warrior from Manhattan Beach, California. His second year with Forward Madison.
Spent some time with the Red Wolves. Injured towards the end of last season. Did come back for that playoff loss to NoCo.
Bernd Shipman will put this one back into play. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Chilaka stepping on that one, preventing it from getting to Castro. Gebhard try to connect with Galindrez. Now Schultz up the pitch to Velasquez. Velasquez up forward for Schultz. He kept it in play. But this one he couldn't. And we've got some more substitutions incoming. Perhaps we'll see some on the Forward Madison side of things. We got 3 of them. And you should recognize all 3 of those names. These are all players who have League One experience, including some starting League One experience.
Number 6, John Murphy. Number 25, Barony Sosa. And number 9, Christian Cheney. In the 69th minute.
So, as we get these all down, we've got Nazim Bartman coming in for Christian Cheney. Striker for striker. You've got Wolfgang Prentice coming in for Eddie Sosa. So that's a winger for a winger. And then in the middle of the pitch, Jimmy Villalobos comes in for John Murphy. Villalobos maybe adding a little more offensive bite up the interior.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Bartman perhaps drops a little bit further back into more of a 10 role behind Galindrez.
Let's see if that handful of switches does the trick for Matt Glazer. Payne. Corvino now. His ball played forward, and Osman will turn it all the way back to Shipman. Chilaka with the turn. 20 minutes to go in this game. Still all tied up at 0-0. If you're tuning in after the finale of one of the earlier window games, this one locked up 0-0, of course, on the scoreboard. Greenville with the better chances in this game, including a penalty in the 45th minute near the end of the first half that Leo Castro had denied by Bernd Shipman.
Yeah, Knoxville finishing off that 2-0 win at home over Lexington in that derby. We'll call it a derby, I think. They play for the barrel, right, Mark?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a rivalry.
Rivalry and derby, 2 different things in my book, but I think this derby as being a local-ish, which those 2 are. Greenville, I don't know if they're rival. Omaha, perhaps.
Well, Tormenta.
Success. I think Tormenta is the derby they were trying to get going, right? Teams are a little far apart, but played each other so many times in those first few seasons. Yeah, Wolfgang Prentice, he started the cup match midweek. Played well on that left side.
Bartman with Payne in pace. Payne plays it out left. Service driving inside. Couldn't reach any Mingo target inside the 6. Galindres gives a thumbs up.
Yeah, the final ball has just been a little lacking in class tonight. You saw Tyler Pollack having to be careful there with the yellow card. Held out of that tackle, potential tackle.
Good touch from Pollack to shake off Boyce.
Tyler Pollack, Creighton man, be tracking his team in the NCAA tournament. Play Oregon next.
Nate Schultz against Prentice, plays it back to Velasquez. Schultz sneaks it inside, trying to find Castro.
Nate Schultz went to Akron. They were in it, right, Mark? They lose in the first round, I think.
Yeah, they lost to Creighton.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe some bragging rights
Yes.
mentioned in the middle of the week.
Might have been a small bet on that one.
The Zips getting in the most unlikely of manners. We've got one more opportunity instead, so watch the USL. Gebhard stepping inside. And that one knocked away for a corner kick. Chance for the Mingos on the set piece to find something.
Corner kick for forward Madison.
The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com, USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. You can find it on either of those sites.
As mentioned, you and I on Golazo on Friday night for Lexington hosting Greenville.
Boyce, second service. Bartman couldn't quite get there in time. He had a window.
Still just a one shot on target for Madison in this contest. They're only perhaps one shot away from on target, away from a big 3 points though. So it might take in this one. So it doesn't seem like we have multiple goals on the docket.
Bartman's pass running into Wes Cowett there, our head official.
It's the interception.
So a quick drop ball, and the Mingos will push forward once again. Long ball from Mel. I think it was an offside call, but Greenville had possession, so you would think advantage would be played there.
Frustrating one for Greenville. It's a good turn by Herrera, not for the first time tonight. He's had a couple of those nice turns.
Shipman and let that one roll as he scoops it up. Boyce. Prentice. They're getting sandwiched by Greenville players. And they'll lose control.
A couple of former League One guys getting on the scoreboard in the championship tonight. North Carolina playing Tampa Bay. Mikey Maldonado with an own goal for Tampa Bay. And then Rafa Midsigan with the equalizer, assisted by Alex Anderson. Trevor Ammon not on the scoreboard yet, shockingly.
Yeah, what a start he's had to his career in the USL Championship. USL League One fans won't be surprised, though.
Still 15 minutes to go in that game. Sacramento at Indy 11. For those Greenville fans watching, Jared Mazzola not getting the start tonight.
Polak. His pass didn't get very far. And now Madison with a chance on the break. Payne Back to Bartman. A little back and forth between those two. Chilaka. Playing it out to Prentice. Working on Schultz. And we've got ourselves, looks to be another goal kick. No contact off of Schultz there on the cross.
Yeah, Madison starting to gain the ascendancy here in this second half. Peppering this Greenville box with crosses, not the greatest of crosses, but crosses nonetheless into the danger zone. That's a ball giveaway there.
A step in the right direction. Herrera. Velasquez going down that right-hand side. Schultz. And hear the drumming of the Reedy River Riot. Located in the bottom, it would be away from the bottom left corner of your screen.
Yeah, they made some good noise midweek too. A lot of them traveling to Columbia for that match against the Bantams.
Can get a bit exhausting and wear and tear on your body to continually play on turf, which is what both these teams have for their home pitches. I remember talking to Matt Glazer last year, and he said that they do a lot of strengthening work during the off-season, especially for the joints that suffer from playing on turf often. And as the season goes on, you could end up dealing with the consequences of that, which is why when you have a deeper team, you could maybe manage that even better, because you can rotate players in and out without there being a drop in quality. Schultz with the ball up for Castro. Two Madison players there to usher it away. Castro with a plea that was a pass back to the goalkeeper from Chilaka. The ref will not acquiesce though.
Substitution here, Rick Wright, with just the one change so far. Will this be the second one? We saw Ben Zakowski come in late in the first game.
Substitution for Greenville. Entering the match, number 7.
And lo and behold, Ben Zakowski.
And number 20.
Guy Rick Wright was very happy with during the preseason, the rookie. See Hayden Anderson as well.
So Zakowski will come in for Castro. So Castro's night's over without a goal. And then Hayden Anderson making his USL League One debut. 23 years old. The Greenville kid comes in to replace Nate Schultz. Both these substitutions brought to you by Spinks.
Yeah, getting a shot tonight with Hassan Gabo, as you mentioned, on international duty with Somalia. Did not start that midweek loss in AFCON qualifying. Play again next week as well. So we probably won't see Gabo on Friday either. It's a long trip back, obviously, from Africa. But Hayden Anderson getting the shot here as a result of Gabo's absence.
Did that already happen? I don't know if it's happened yet. I answered my other question. Lee wins a throw-in for Greenville.
Zakowski, the rookie out of Monmouth, where he used to play for John Harkes' high school teammate, Robert McCord. John Harkes did say he had a slight role in that recruitment.
And there's Zakowski now applying some pressure on Stephen Payne. That's excellent from Payne to connect with Boyce. Boyce, centrally, played up top, winding shot. Not sure if that suffered a deflection or not. Doesn't look like it did. Instead, just sent skyward by Villalobos.
Yeah, Jimmy wants that one back. It's a lovely layoff. Certainly would have been not the easiest of finishes, but should at least have made Christian Garner work for it.
So we're going to get another substitution for forward Madison. Derek Gebhard's evening has concluded, and Aiden Macias comes into the matchup. Did not play in that Tormenta game, so this is his introduction to the 2024 season in USL League One.
And the man from England started 26 times last year, a couple of goals. He's lost his starting role in the center of midfield for now, but a chance here perhaps to make an impression on Matt Glazer. Zion Scarlett call for the foul.
Definitely a chance for any of these players to leave an impression in a game that's still open for 3 points to be taken. Bartman up to Galindres, who parries it back. And the offside flag up once again. A bit late there on the whistle, Ross.
It's not the first time tonight. We've had a strange little later offside call.
It's better late than never, but
he's done a pretty good job though tonight. Where's Cowett? Had that one little flashpoint where things could have got a little out of control, but sorted it out.
Zakowski knifing that one forward. Scarlett still with it. Zion Scarlett played that centrally and earns his team a corner kick.
Yeah, big interception there by Chilaka. As Greenville players lining up to smash that one home.
Another set piece opportunity for the Triumph. Is this the one to break the tie? With Castro out of the game, Lee's the one who parks in front of the keeper. Ball still in the fray. Anderson tried to tap it back. Instead, Madison will break forward. Bartman with some room to run with, and some players running with him. Bartman still on the gas. Bartman tried to shoot.
A little greedy from Nazim there. He had options right and left. Decided to try and take it himself, and that was the wrong decision. It's a golden opportunity for Madison to try and steal this one late there.
Herrera stepping in, earning the ball for the Triumph. Jamie Smith over to Polak. Corvino with a floating ball up, but the flag goes. So Scarlett will be denied the opportunity. Zion Scarlett, one of the young talents brought in this season by Rick Wright. Rick Wright did mention, though, that Mark Ward, his assistant coach, very well connected in the southern region as far as recruiting is concerned. He also threw out some praise to Julie Carlson, who's been great with film in the scouting process. He also joked that he's had some good and bad experiences with agents since he's taken over.
Who hasn't in this game?
I mentioned, but he's going to get an understanding of which of them he sees eye to eye with.
Yeah.
He did joke that one of them reached out and proposed a goalkeeper. And Rick Wright was thinking, does he not see the situation I'm in? I'm already struggling to start either of these guys. I don't need a third one. I think it's just a situation that if you want a coach or a team to do the courtesy of scouting out your guy, you probably should do the scouting out of what the team needs as well on the other end.
It does get at least something in Rick's ear that if he does need a goalkeeper at some point with an injury or whatever. That, hey, I remember that guy called me about this keeper. Let me give him a call back, I guess.
Villalobos out to Prentice. Wolfgang Prentice squaring ball! And that one may not have been too far off the goal. Surely intended to be a cross, but not too far off.
Prentice, the man on loan from Oakland Roots. Yeah, that one wasn't far off at all. from Christian Garner's far post.
Madison with more and more chances as this game is wearing on.
Don't forget, you can check out the late match tonight after this one. Spokane hosting NOCO. Two of the westernmost teams facing off. Should be a fun one.
You see that crowd of that Spokane game last weekend?
That was crazy. Hopefully they all come back tonight for the second game. Not sure how the temperatures are tonight in Spokane, but
always love when you can get another team in this league that brings it with the fans. Of course, Brace Stevens Field, always been known for their raucous environment. The Reedy River Riot, always here drumming away for the Greenville Triumph. Obviously, they have the disadvantage of having to play at Paladin Stadium, which is such a big venue. Definitely mitigates the size of crowd that Greenville brings. Payne with the cross in. Prentice brings it down. He turns, parries it out. Boyce has to retreat and tried to knife that one over to Payne.
one telling stat tonight, Mark, the touches in the opposition's box, 20 for Greenville, only 5 for Madison. Most of their stuff has come from crosses, 13 crosses apiece. When you're starting 2 number 9s, like the majority of the game, that's a disappointing number.
Well, I mentioned Narquise wanted to feed them, and they didn't really get that much fed.
Starting children at the end of this one tonight, other than beasts, rather than beasts. Big children.
Both. Oh, yeah. It looks like we're going to get a Greenville debut here for Carlos Anguiano. This substitution brought to you by Spinks, coming over from Phoenix Rising. Was recovering at the beginning of the season. Now healthy enough to step into the game for these last moments.
Yeah, good amount of USL Championship experience. Obviously, USL Championship winner last year. The Rising coming from that 6th seed in the West, take it all.
What a run that was. Some magical finishes in that playoff run. And then coming back in the final, not only in regulation, coming back in the penalties.
Yeah, we got 2 head injuries down, head clash. The referee stopping this game. Yep, that was the swan song of Juan Guerre as he rode off into the sunset with his title after being assistant in MLS with Houston. So again, Smith's got some damage to his forehead. Galindra also down. Let's take another look at it here. Off the throw-in. Oh, yeah. Galindra's went to flick it. Smith in the wars once again. He always tends to stick his head in there.
Yeah.
Hopefully we might have 3 guys finish this game with head bandages. Certainly some time added on here in addition to the 5. Can somebody find a late winner?
A lot of players on this pitch here this evening who have in the past scored some late winners. Juan Galindra is, of course, the artisan of it a couple years ago. Him and Jimmy Villalobos both on that team for Chattanooga.
I mentioned this is the 14th time these 2 teams have met. Madison have only won twice in this rivalry. There was that 4-1, bizarre 4-1 match at the beginning of the season last year. Towards the beginning of the season, I should say. Also won 3-2 back in 2022. That's it, just the 2 wins. In fact, 1, 2, 3. In fact, we had 4 draws, 5 draws in this series. Actually, 6. We've had a number of draws. So we might have another one here.
So a substitution for Madison. Juan Galindrez will see his night end after the injury. And Agustin Davila will come in. He's the odd duck on this roster, as Matt Glazer pointed out, that most of his players, if not all of them, have some sort of American League experience, except for Davila, who comes in over from the Ecuadorian Serie A, where he had 8 appearances this past season, at least.
Yeah, product of Peñarol in Uruguay. One of the best teams in that country. He's got a wicked left foot. Greenville will have to be careful not to give away any silly free kicks near the area in these final minutes, especially on that right side, because Davila can crack him. Started the game midweek, still working his way to full fitness. So Jamie Smith tries to come back on.
So now we've got Timmy Mell and Jamie Smith, who will be sporting the tape for the rest of this affair. Long ball brought down, played back. Velasquez back to Anderson. Lee up forward to Velasquez. Excuse me, that's Anguiano. Anderson with the cross, and that one will drift out of bounds.
This will probably have at least 2 or 3 minutes added on to those 5 mark. We'll probably go 97, 98 here.
Bernd Shipman taking his sweet time. Madison, first game of the year, was a draw against Tormenta. Could have felt hard done by a draw in that game.
A stat for you, Greenville's last shot in this game of any kind was in the 59th minute.
Madison. Prentice went down. Ref says play on. And now Velasquez the other way for Greenville. And a foul, and what should be a yellow card for Chilaka, and it will be.
Smart yellow card, though. Velasquez was on his horse, looking for the transition chance, and Chilaka, a man from Israel, with a smart decision just to pull back the local man. Sure, with a ton of fans and friends in attendance tonight, making his return to Greenville this season.
This yellow card brought to you by GSP Airport. Chilaka, the one in panic earlier in the game when he committed the penalty. Luckily, his goalkeeper was up for the task. And we've got a booking for Matt Glazer, getting a yellow card.
Not sure what he had to complain about that challenge. Well, it was his own team that fouled, so I'm not sure what Matt was saying.
Headed out by Payne.
May add another 30 seconds or so onto this one. It's a foul on Davila.
So the 5 minutes have transpired, but as Ross has already pointed out, we had the injuries right at the end of 90 minutes. So we'll see just how much more is allotted by our head official, Wes Cowett. But the final whistle could go off at any moment. Anderson. Anguiano. Plays it up the pitch, headed upward by Mel. Osman gets a piece of it. Polak trying to connect with Herrera. Davila playing that one up the pitch for Prentice. And Lee will knock it back to his keeper, Christian Garner.
Timmy Mail having a bit of fun with the Reedy River Riot.
He doesn't love a little bit of goading. Such a game rife with banter soccer.
Yeah, it's normally the goalkeepers that you just get it when the visiting fans were behind them, like they were at Old Legacy early. Now they're really right there on the sideline. I think the players get it perhaps a little more.
Sikowski launching that one up the pitch. Shipman with Scarlett coming. That was dangerous. Fricky had to do something with it. He had a massive player behind him and in front of him. How much time is left in this game? Boyce. Inventive there. Here's Devin Boyce once again. Has the cross. Floating in and clutching it is Garner.
Just like that first game, Garner's been solid. Not spectacular. He's done what he needed to do tonight. No real big saves, and that'll do it.
With the final whistle blowing, Greenville and Madison sticking true to the old values of this matchup. 0-0 your scoreline between these two founding clubs. A point shared apiece, which means the Mingos start off the year with 2 draws. Greenville now at a win and a draw. So, the Triumph and Madison remain undefeated early on in the season after 2 games played. With that in mind, we're going to step aside for a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the full-time highlights, the full-time stats, and everything else here on ESPN+.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
Well, I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location?
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
Welcome back to Paladin Stadium one last time tonight. No goals in this affair between the Triumph and forward Madison. Mark Schuster, Ross Davenport with you here for some post-game coverage on ESPN+. We've got some highlights coming your way between these two sides. No goals, but still some action as we get a peek at them now. Brought to you by GSP International Airport. First off, the big chance from Leo Castro burnt Shipman. Wouldn't be the last time he would deny Castro.
Yeah, big save here. Castro once again with an open header. Not sure how teams are allowing that to happen. Shipman got his hands up just in time, and he was big decision at the end of the first half. Chalaka questioning that decision, but it was a penalty, and Castro with the very leisurely run up, and in the end it cost him.
Burnt Shipman with that save, earning his team a point in this affair, as that would be the difference maker. That was the big moment in this game. Then in the second half, Shipman would come up once again. Fricky couldn't get there in time. And then we'd have one chance in the second half that Madison tried to make happen. They had a couple of them in the second half, especially as the game wore on. But it wouldn't result in anything. Greenville will have the edge still in shots on target, possession, in just about every category. But zeros across the board in the stat line that matters.
Yeah, I think Rick Wright will be the happier coach overall of the performance, but Matt Glazer will certainly take the point away from home, and his team will look to work on the offensive side of things. Just the one shot on target tonight.
And we'll see how that Cheney Galintrez pairing up top continues from here on out. But with that in mind, that's where this broadcast will end. These two teams go on the road next week. It's a Friday game for Lexington and a Friday game a Friday game at Lexington, and a Friday game at Central Valley Fuego for Madison. But for tonight and our broadcasting crew, for Ross Davenport, I'm Mark Schoenster. I appreciate you all tuning in. We hope you have a fantastic night. We'll see you next time. Your final score here, the Greenville Triumph 0, Forward Madison 0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.